and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Read file.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Public forum. Now is the time for anybody to speak who wants to speak on something that's not on the agenda. Approval of meeting minutes, open session, September 12th. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Abstain.
302.
New business. Kathy Salem. Hi, Kathy. You want to address us
I
regarding
actually would like to, I'll get to the
reestablishing the Lions Club in Whitman?
Hi, I'm Kathy Salem from the Abington Lions Club, but I'd like to relinquish the mic to a gentleman named Ronnie Martin from Lions Club International, who will actually speak on our behalf about reestablishing the Lions Club.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how much y'all know about Lions. We're actually the world's largest service organization. You had a club here a long time ago. It just aged out. And so the district governor asked me to come in. I'm with Lions Clubs International. I'm the head of the department for new clubs. We started yesterday. We have 11 members already. It takes 20 to start a club. By Friday, we will have a new club in Whitman.
Terrific.
One of the things we do, which old clubs didn't participate in very much, is we have matching grants to help cities out. So if you wanted to put some stuff at your parks for ADA or splash pads or stuff like that, we actually match up to $100,000 every year. And we approve them every 90 days. And it's something most cities don't know we do. Small towns need the money. I know that. I do this all over the country. Every single week, I'm somewhere else. We are 1.4 million volunteers now in 210 countries and territories. Charity Navigator has actually given us the highest rating in the world, 4 stars for the 3rd year in a row. If you donate $1 to us, the whole dollar goes back. So if we raise $500.50 in this town, $500.50 goes back to this town. That's the way our rules are. We were voted by the Financial Times as the #1 non-governmental organization in the world to partner with. So I don't do the chicken dinners no more. I partner with the restaurants so they stay open. Why compete with them? Other organizations have a tendency to compete. I don't compete. We don't worry about, our money's not big. It's $35 to join. Our dues are $6 a month. Our new focus is less meetings, more service. So most clubs, new clubs, meet once a month. If they do that, we do everything online now. We got in the 21st century, which is what everyone's going to have to do if they're going to stay open. And because of that, we have a lot of young people here in town that have joined. A lot of young business owners. Probably the average age is 35. So it's not going to be your dad's Lions Club. And a lot of women have joined. We do. I actually had a lady ask me today if women can join. 30 years ago, we got really smart. Yes, we would, in front of you as applications, if anyone wants to join, we're going to stay until you kick us out to answer any other questions.
You don't call your women lionesses, do you?
No, sir. I'm from Texas. You do that, they'll slap you. And we don't ever say we let them join either. That's another thing that will get you in trouble.
I used to belong to another service organization that used names like that for the women before they allowed them to become full.
Oh no, we have learned really quick. So it's open to absolutely everybody in town. Anyone who wants to join can join. We're about helping this community. We're about, every bank in town has joined. And part of it is, if someone comes in and they need heating oil and they can't afford it, we'll pick up the tab. If someone needs their yard taken care of and they can't afford it and she lives by herself and her husband's passed away and the kids are gone, we'll take care of it. Don't write them a citation. We're those people who are supposed to be filling the gap in society. And that's why we started. We're 101 years old this year. So we've been around, we know what we're doing. Our job now is to get to our core values, which is to help our town. If you need hearing aids or glasses, we provide them free of charge. No questions asked. We'll take care of it. So that's who we are. And so we like working with our cities. We want to know what you need. We want to know who needs help. And that's what we're about. I won't build you a bridge, sorry. I had a selectman ask me if I'd build a bridge. No. But we'll do just about everything else. If you need anything to be ADA acceptable for every kid to participate, we'll be the ones who'll jump in with the money. And we'll work with the Kiwanis, the Rotary, anyone else who wants to work with us. I don't care if my name's on it, I care about my town. And that's what we're teaching this club, the same thing. I want to thank you for the time.
Thank you. You gave me a flashback. I spent some time in Austin, Texas. At one time when you mentioned the top Texas women, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's where I went to school. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I can say I understand completely what you are all about. For many years, seemed like a lifetime ago, I was involved with the Whitman JCs and I was past president, so that's the kind of stuff we did, and I completely understand and I'm behind you 100% with this. This is going to be a great thing for the community.
You could fill out the thing on the,
Now, what do you
Right here.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to, Chief, do you want to spend some time talking about the Narcan Sim Lab?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. On November 4th, from 10 to 1, there'll be a sim lab for Narcan right up at Duval's in the center of town. Part of the reason that this location is chosen, obviously, it's going to attract attention, but that's exactly what we want. We all know that the opioid epidemic is here loud and clear. Actually, just before I came here, just to bring you up to date, so to date, through September 23rd, we've had 31 overdoses. One person is on here 4 times. We've had 3 deaths out of the 31 overdoses so far. So I think that by having the lab, the sim lab in the center, it breaks down more of those barriers that people think, oh, this is a scourge, these people are bad people, these people, because that's not the case. These people are sick and they need to be treated. And what we're finding now, they'll be trained, they're going to train people how to use Narcan there. And even in some of the meetings that we've been having with the schools and different things, we're actually training, those teachers are being trained in how to administer Narcan. Because invariably, as we're learning, as families are breaking down, whether it's the mother or the father who have overdosed and died, and it's the grandparents who are raising the children, and you're running into this almost everywhere. These people are there. They still go to sporting events and things like that. And it's similar to being able to have an AED. If you have an AED on the wall, you can save somebody's life. If you know how to give Narcan and it's there, and that's where we're suggesting they keep the stuff now, is right in where the AED is, so everybody knows it's right there. So by having this lab, and there's been a lot of great work done by a lot of the coalitions, but in particularly, I will say, the Whitman Hanson Will Coalition is really, they're progressive, they really tackle the issues, and they've been on point. And Amanda Sandoval and Hillary Dubois, who do a great job, have just continued to draw on the people, the community leaders, who have certainly set an example, and Dr. Kowalski being one of them, chairman of the Board of Selectmen. When that person is your point person and is out there saying, hey, we need to help with this, that sends a strong message too, and that's what we want to do here. We want to send the message that we need to help these people and we need to educate people, so that, I said that there's a person that was saved on here 4 times. It wouldn't matter if it was 4,000, if it was your child. Never are you going to go, you know what, just let him die. And that's the stigma that we need to break down. That's not going to happen, but you'll hear people say, oh, well, why do that? Why do that? Because you want to save that person. None of us would ever say, oh, that's okay, let our child die today. So it's a very worthwhile thing. It will be in the center of town. We'll also have a presence out there, but we encourage the community members, citizens in town, to ask questions, go up, take a look, see what it's all about. I think, you know, and who would have ever thought, right? I mean, you know, I grew up in the town too. I mean, you think back to the 70s and 80s in the center of town, would you ever think no? But, you know, these are the times we're in, and I think that it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's proactive for sure, so.
It's basically, it's called a sim lab because it's going to create, as the flyer says, a mock overdose situation so that people can see how to use it. They're going to have it's like a dummy.
Yep.
And then people are going to learn how to use it. It could be kind of exciting to be there. And it is critical, you're right. I got to throw a kudo out to Lieutenant Connolly, though, at the last regional meeting that Frank attended, actually. He did a terrific job summarizing what's gone on in the Whitman Hanson Will part of the coalition. He did a really nice job. What we found out when you go to the regional meetings, and there are different coalitions. Whitman Hanson Will is one, there's a Rockland one, East Bridgewater, Brockton, etc. We found out that our coalition is heavily supported by the schools, by the police, by fire. Lieutenant Connolly is there a lot. You've been there. Frank has now been there once. It would be good to see some of the rest of you guys at one of these meetings, especially you would think that people with police and/or fire service experience would get involved. But we are our particular coalition is one in which professionals are involved. School people, public service people, first responder type people. Rockland, on the other hand, is a coalition in which most of the involvement comes from community members, church members, or families. And what I'd like to see here in this area is a combination of that. Hopefully, having the sim lab in front of Duval's is going to encourage some people who might not have gotten involved, who have children who have been involved, to come forward to some of the meetings and participate. So I think that's when we're really going to get stronger. You made a point to make that it's the normal person that gets involved in this crisis, and you know that you've probably heard me say this before at the annual vigil that they have in August over at Massasoit Community College, in which they show a slideshow of the number of people who have died of opioid overdoses over the last 2 or 3 years. I think the number was up to 200 something the last time I went. Started off with 4 years ago. It started off with 20 pictures. So it's 200 pictures. But if you were to look at those slides, what you would see is a Whitman, Hanson, or Norwell, or East Bridgewater yearbook. You see a number of young people who are our kids. And it's a sobering thought. It's something that's not going away right now. And if we notice the news over the weekend, starting to peck away at some of the root causes for it, and they're kind of scary because people with power have been responsible for a lot of this. But thank you, Chief, for your involvement in it too, and Chief Greno as well. But we could use some more help too.
Thank you.
See you on November 4th. Vote to adopt the municipal website as the official method of posting notice. Frank?
While we currently use the website as our official posting point, the open meeting law has changed to require that the executive board designate a primary posting site. So I'm asking the board tonight to vote to designate our website as the official posting site, making it clear to anyone who may be listening that you can't self-post. It still has to go through the town clerk. It still has to be stamped in, and we have to evidence that it was posted at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I had to go to the website today, actually, to I had a question about hauling off large items with the trash people, because I'd forgotten exactly what I had, the steps I had to take. And I talked to a lovely lady from the DPW, because that's what our website says. It says if you want large items to be taken away, to call the DPW.
Yeah, but if you drill down further,
Well, it says call the DPW. I drilled down. Lonnie told me, well, no, you can't, you gotta call this other number. And that's what I remembered actually after a while.
yeah.
And it would be nice to not have to drill down that quickly. on
I've
our
noted a few
municipal
issues
website.
today that I've seen on the website that need to be updated.
I'll still vote for it. Anybody,
Yeah.
anybody not, anybody ready to, everybody ready to vote? All
Well,
those-
I have one question.
Sorry.
Just one question. Is it still going to be posted in the town hall?
Yes, yes, but the legal posting will
Right,
be
yeah, but it'll still be.
the www.whitman-ma.gov.
Okay, that's it. One minute.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is to vote to authorize expenditure for repair of 2 rooftop HVAC units at Whitman Middle School. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Frank?
This is an issue we've been aware of for the last couple of years. It has appeared on our capital matrix for the Whitman-Hanson School District. This year, one of them has failed, and the other one isn't looking a whole lot better. And what the school wants to do is to immediately purchase these, so we're not looking at a cold day in December and no heat coming in off the rooftop units. I agree that this is something that needs to be done immediately. It doesn't involve deficit spending, but it does involve a commitment on our part to fund that purchase at our next town meeting, because the schools are going to be putting that money out in advance.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Time for a public meeting with respect to the application of Linden Property Trust, James F. Canavan, doing business as Linden House for a rooming house license on the premises located at 24 Linden Street. If approved, take action to rescind the rooming house license for D&B Realty Corp. Philip C. Fitzpatrick on the premises located at 24 Linden Street. Basically a change of ownership, as I understand.
Right.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Yes, sir.
Are there any questions? or-
You must be James.
I'm Jim
Canavan.
Cannon.
Anyone have any questions?
Been around a long time.
Okay. All those in favor? All those in favor?
I am.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And now I'd like a motion to rescind the rooming house license for D&B Realty.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for being on. Discuss the need for a special town meeting, Frank.
Tonight, I'm asking the board to vote to ratify 2 collective bargaining agreements. That will leave only the police contract open for bargaining. The Chapter 150E of the general laws requires that once we reach an agreement, that we schedule a meeting within 30 days. Because we have multiple agreements, all the unions have understood that we're waiting to complete our bargaining obligation and then call for a special. It's dragged out a bit, and as a result of that, I believe we're going to probably be looking at mid-December for a town meeting. There's just not enough time to put it together for November. I also want to bring in the group from the schools to talk to this board about the Duval roof, because they're requesting that be on the special. And if we're going to spend $1 million, we sure should know why.
And what we just spent as far as the rooftops, that'll be on there also?
Yes.
Yeah. Something new.
And any discussion? Okay, so we will look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, and the other thing I'm waiting for is the assessors to complete the recap of property in order for us to identify what our levy limit is and whether these items can be raised or need to be appropriated from available funds.
We don't need a vote now, we'll vote next time we hear from them.
Yes, sir.
Vote to ratify the library memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Second.
Frank, you want to just say a few words about it?
Sure. This is, we essentially reached agreement at the beginning of July, but the things that were holding up the ratification were some issues related to insurance and their understanding of what was required in order for us to complete the contract. And the requirement is that we are looking at a insurance cost sharing where 65% is paid by the town and 35% is paid by the individuals. And that would have to go across the board. So even though we bargain individually, that won't take effect until and unless we've reached agreement with all of the unions and town meeting votes to authorize it. But this will give us a 3-year contract with a 2.5 in year 1 and a 2 and a 2 in years 2 and 3.
Did we move this already? Anybody have any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Set the November meeting schedule. The first one will be on the 7th of November. There'll be a tax classification hearing. And the second one, 2 weeks later, 11/21. That's the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. That shouldn't be an issue, no? Okay, you're on the board, Frank.
We did today receive the signed MOA for the fire department. We discussed that agreement at length in a previous executive session meeting. I would now like to ask that the board vote to ratify this agreement with the understanding that the Council for Fire has assured us that ratification is pending and will be delivered by the union
Okay, well, it's been signed.
when meeting. Well, it's been signed, but it hasn't been ratified by this board. So I do need a ratification vote.
Okay, there's a motion.
Motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Anything else, Frank?
Yes, last meeting, we authorized a blood drive in the auditorium for January 16th. Today I received a call from the American Red Cross requesting that be moved to February 6th. I don't believe there's any conflict, so with the board's approval, I will offer February 6th.
Okay,
Any motion?
I don't think so. We have the consensus of the people that I'm looking at.
Great.
You can go ahead and do it. Anything else?
Just executive session.
Okay, Randy,
Nothing.
you have nothing.
Nothing.
Okay,
I have nothing.
we know what you have. Brian?
I do have one thing. I was talking to that lovely lady down at the DPW
Oh, were you?
for dinner,
Yeah.
actually. And we were having a discussion about, there's been a lot of people that have been calling about their trash not getting picked up because inevitably they're bringing in their recycling bin before the trash part comes. So I just wanted to
You gotta
remind
leave
you,
the blue one out there.
you've got to leave the blue one out before the black one can be
Right.
picked up or you're going to get bypassed. So upon further review, I looked at the flyer that was sent out.
Did you look at page 2?
That apparently nobody seemed to have got or read. And I read it, and it does not say that this is the current one, the 1780.
Actually, it does.
I'm looking at it right here, and it does not
It's
say.
very hard to find because I had
If
a
it is,
call
you're
earlier
better than
today.
me,
Does
because
he
I
have
don't
to,
see
does he
it.
have to drill down?
If I can borrow that for a moment. I would hope that it's correct. You will note that the town of Whitman enforces a mandatory recycling policy. Trash collection is instructed not to collect any trash unless
Very good.
But I had to look for it.
Yeah, I spent a while looking for this, but my suggestion might be, the purpose of me bringing this up was that with Mr. Salvucci being the liaison to the DPW, that maybe he can talk to them. It might be in our best interest to send a robocall out.
I actually talked about that earlier today after getting
Okay.
a really irate call from
Well,
someone.
yeah.
And I
Make
think
my point.
when we send out the 18 schedule, we need to put something in bold block on the front, mandatory recycling, both bins must be out.
And it's not on the barrel either, you know, on the top center that has, it's not there. So-
Right, just to discuss a little bit further, one of the major problems that people are afraid of is on windy days or on snow days, the wind could blow an empty barrel into the street. But these are heavier than what
Yeah.
the barrels that we used before, and I don't think they'd be as easy to blow.
They do blow around.
Do
I've
they?
seen
Oh, yeah.
them tipped over. and-
Yeah, so I mean,
They're big windshields. I don't know what the solution is, but if we're going to have mandatory recycling, we have to have a way to enforce it.
I mean, I've seen a couple of folks on my street had that happen to them, and then they come over to me and say, geez, they didn't pick the trash. And there was one question all I had to do was ask them, and they, oh yeah, I took it in. So, I mean, I think it's just education, and we just need to get
Yes,
over it.
it's been with this company.
This is, but first or second year.
Well, we're in our fourth year, but we have had mandatory recycling since, I want to say 2012.
Yeah.
But with this, with the rule of you can't take
Well,
your bin. and-
that was the rule. We had those silly little bins, and if it wasn't out there,
Yeah, I
You didn't
remember
get picked up.
people, like, they put one catfish can out there just so they could get there.
but the enforcement has been inconsistent, which is what leads to the problems.
Right, right. And when it becomes a problem that you're getting dozens of calls on one day, it's become an issue. that-
maybe the solution is that they only pick up the trash first, and if anybody wants to go in and get the black trash barrel, bring that in, and the recyclables get picked up second.
Well,
That's just getting.
they have a couple of trash hauling trucks, but only one recycling
Right.
truck. So it's difficult to require
Right,
that as
exactly.
From
well.
week to week, it's different. I
Right.
might get the recycling guy first and then the
Let's,
trash guy.
let's not try to muddy up what has been clear up to this point. Leave the blue one out.
Yeah, just leave it out. Just
try
take
to
it out
solve
to
the
the end of the day, that's it.
Leave it out.
More trash talk from this one.
Do you have anything, Dan?
Nope.
I have about as much as these two guys put me through. Well, I'd like a motion to go into executive session in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
So moved.
Second, yes.
Yes.
Yes. And we'll return in open session only to adjourn.